Oh, still Bills, what's the deal, man? Thank God it's Friday. Nigga heading to work to do what it is that I do. Y'all know how the story go, man. But peep game, I want to talk about something, man. And that's there's two fights in particular that I think should happen. Because, considering how they're, these two individuals' previous fights went, or these four individuals' previous fights went, and why I feel like it's of extreme importance that they fight each other. And the first fight I'm going to talk about is Edgar Berlanga and how he's being attached to a fight with Resendiz, when I think he doesn't deserve that. He doesn't deserve a fight of that magnitude, honestly. He should fight the dude that Resendiz beat, which is Caleb Plant. And what's so compelling about that fight is they have a back history with one another. They have history with one another. So there's no, why prolong that fight even longer? Why prolong it? That's an easier fight to sell amongst the casuals. I mean, shit, all throughout the leader. And I want to see every opportunity Edgar gets, every chance Edgar Berlanga is in a position to get his ass beat, I'm going to indulge in watching this shit, man. So I still think Plant has what it takes to beat Edgar Berlanga. I honestly do. So why not get them two in the ring? Throughout the duration of the Canelo build-up, he was taking shots at Caleb Plant. He was taking shots at him. Why not get them two in the ring right now? Why do just this marination shit? It's pointless. Y'all are not going to be bigger stars than y'all already are, man. Edgar Berlanga is a dude who has a superstar's mindset where he thinks he's entitled to the moon and the stars, when you don't have a superstar's talent. You have a superstar's persona, but not a superstar's talent. That's just a fact, man. Listen, man. Ron Artest is never going to be prioritized over Kobe Bryant. He was never going to be that guy. Never. Ever. And you're not even Ron Artest. So you need to really come down on this. Like, just, I don't know what it is with this dude is, irritating, man. You're not who it is that you think you are. Nobody thinks that of you. Nobody thinks that a fight with you is, needs to be marinated and handled carefully, because don't nobody give a fuck about you to the point where you're somebody that needs to be prioritized. You don't deserve a Resendiz. You don't deserve that fight. That dude is off his best career win in Caleb Plant. And you somehow are being tied to him. And I don't know what Caleb Plant is going to do. I don't know. I don't think that he should retire. The super middleweight division is heated up. Get you some good fights in and then ride off into the sunset, man. And there's still dope fights for you out there. Man. I wouldn't mind, shit. But, you're going to have to take that risk. You're a former world champion, so you're not in a position where you can, chip off, a chip at the hill. You got to just jump in the deep end and take a gamble. So you may as well, take that gamble, man. I don't think you should retire, though, but I think this is the perfect time to segue into that fight because of the history. Man. Armando is a dude who, he needs to be looking to fight a Lester Martinez or Christian Mobili or even a Diego Pacheco, or, somebody with a higher profile than that of an Edgar Berlanga. Somebody who's a lot more proven than someone who may have a higher ceiling, or not even who has a higher ceiling than that of an Edgar Berlanga, man. He doesn't need to be tied to no fight with it. Why are you, fighting Edgar Berlanga is hustling backwards, dog. Why would you beat Caleb Plant and then go fight Edgar Berlanga, who just came off a knockout loss? He's being rewarded for getting knocked the fuck out. No, Caleb Plant and Edgar Berlanga need to go on ahead and lock horns. There's no better time than now for them two to get in the ring and mix it up. Why even prolong that shit? Y'all not superstars. Nobody is not about to be. That's a fight that doesn't need no more. This is the most sizzle it's gonna get. And a fight with Resendiz is not as big of a fight with Plant because y'all have a back history. Y'all have a history there, man. So why not make that shit happen in the now? I don't know who is who's handling Armando. I don't know who's handling Berlanga. But of course, just with Berlanga, it would make sense for whoever's handling Berlanga to go and chase after Armando. It would make sense, but whoever's handling Armando, it doesn't make sense for him to go and chase after Edgar Berlanga when you need to be thinking, ahead. What the fuck? You can't get in there with a Jaime or some shit like that. You can't get in there with shit, even a Bruno Sriracha. Even a Bruno, somebody, give me somebody. It can't be Edgar, bro. That shit is a pointless fight. That is pointless. You just simply be fighting Edgar because he has some sort of name to him, man. Even though every fight that he's been, you can't berate him or whatever too bad for losing to Canelo because Canelo is Canelo. But for you to go in there and lose to Hamza Shiraz, who's still making his mark in the division, and lost to Carlos Adames, bro, that's sad. Which it ain't sad. I fuck with Hamza. I do. I fuck with Hamza, but nah, bro. Nah, bro. And I think Hamza's gonna be a champion. I do. I think Hamza will be a champion. But nah, man. You don't need to be fighting no fucking Edgar Berlanga, bro. It just nah. Off a knockout loss at that, man, that's gonna look bad on you. That's gonna look bad on you because it wasn't just like it was a war. That wasn't Hagler Hearn. It wasn't nothing like that. He went in there and 4 rounds later, he was already picking himself up off the canvas twice. Why do you need to go and entertain that dude? Forward momentum, my man. You want to take steps forward, not steps back. So get that fight up out of here and go get in there with somebody more notable. Go get in there, go look to run that shit with Jaime. Go look to run that shit with Pacheco, Mabili, Martinez, Oslacey Iglesias. Even a Vladimir Shishkin or Eric Basinyan is a better pick than a fucking Edgar Berlanga. That dude ain't shit. You up here trying to fight this dude, man? Come on, man. Nah, bro. It ain't it. It ain't it. I mean, who else is there, man? Beck the Bully. Y'all think you and Beck would be dope. Why not do that? Why not Darius Foljam? Fighting Edgar Berlanga, man, off of a Caleb Plant win. Off of a brutal beating of Caleb Plant, you gonna go and fight Edgar Berlanga. Hustling backwards, man. Motherfuckers be name chasing. These names in America is not what they used to be. Edgar Berlanga ain't shit. You'll damage your career fighting Edgar Berlanga. God forbid you go in there and lose to him. No. Get Edgar Berlanga out your mind. That shit shouldn't even... Wow. That's fucking disgusting, man. But the next fight I want to talk about, who I think they should fight, because I feel like both of these niggas lost their fights. Both of them. And that's David Morrell and Joshua Buatsi. That's David Morrell and Joshua Buatsi. We know what we saw. I had Joshua Buatsi knocking Zach Parker the fuck out. I'm like, you've been in there with too many people. You've been in there with too many reputable opponents for you to go in here and lose to Zach Parker. And you went in there and you lost to Zach Parker. David Morrell is a dude who, they just placed him too high, man. He was, a product of PBC matchmaking. And usually when it comes to PBC fighters, they get this extra credit and, for beating opponents that, if they was on top ranked side of the street, some people would be seen as, cherry picking and fixed matchmaking as opposed to quality matchmaking. David Morrell is he gets the PBC golden ticket as being better than what he is. And we saw that fight with Katayev. We saw him get countered consistently from rounds 1 to 10. We saw him get violently dropped. We saw all of that. And we saw you lose that fight. And we also saw you go through, we saw you struggle immensely with Radovanje Kalajic. We saw that. The writing was on the wall then. Nah, man, it's time to pump the brakes on you, big homie. You're going to have to really show and prove because you're not panning out to be what it is that everybody was, projecting you to be. And that goes for Joshua Buatsi as well. The standout amateur. You have not panned out. I think your best win is Willie Hutchinson. And I like how you handled yourself in that fight. Willie Hutchinson has a style that, I don't know, man. I just, both of them have this, but, this bit of, outboxing. I don't think Joshua Buatsi is much the outboxer as a Willie Hutchinson. I think he likes to, stay around about mid-distance and get good, maximum extension and leverage on his, on his straight punches, his backhand in particular. So, but for you to, you have to go on the hunt and track down your prey. I thought, all right, cool, man. I dig that. I dig that. I dig that. That was a good win for you. You have the fight of the year, potential fight of the year candidate with fucking Callum Smith just in February. What, 10 months ago? You come off that performance and you go in there last week and look the way that you look. Was Zach Parker a dude who would, only one quality fight, and that was with John Ryder? And you can tell he really focused on this fight because maybe he didn't focus on this fight because I'm not gonna say he didn't focus on the fight. Of course he focused on the fight, but I'm accustomed to seeing Zach Parker do unnecessary switch hitting. He switch hits too much, and that that got him down in front of the German dude. Put him on the canvas in front of the German dude put him down. So it's only within the past 2 or 3 fights that he's really, stayed in one stance for, a lengthy period of time. And he did that with Joshua Buatsi. And he was able to outmaneuver and, and counter Joshua Buatsi consistently and to the point where he looked lost in there. He looked lost. He looked puzzled. He looked, flustered in that motherfucker. And he still got the nod, bro. What in the entire fuck is going on here? So I feel like with y'all two, y'all just need to go on ahead and lock horns. Y'all both have y'all both fought on Riyadh, so just go on ahead and make that fight happen. We need Joshua Buatsi versus David Morrell because both of you dudes are proven to be not what y'all are being projected to be. And I think those would be dope fights. Two names that Berlanga Plant. That's a dope fight because just the back history between the two of them, and they're notable names. Joshua Buatsi and David Morrell. They're notable names at light heavyweight. Go ahead and make that shit happen, man. We don't need. This is the season of redemption. I get Callum Smith and David Morrell are allegedly in talks, but David Morrell ain't deserving of no Callum Smith fight. He's not deserving of no Callum Smith fight. Because he shouldn't have won his last fight. Every fighter is going to have a controversial win under their belt. Let's stop playing this game where, controversial wins are only subject to certain fighters. Every fighter is going to have controversial wins. Every fighter. If not every fighter, the majority of fighters. But the fighters that most people, love and revere, they're going to have those fights where they're head scratchers. Whether you talking Tyson, whether you talking Roy Jones, whether you talking Floyd, Lennox, whether you talking Hagler, Hearn, whether you talking Leonard Duran, Pernell, Oscar, Cotto, Zab, every fighter, every great, every reputable is going to have head scratchers for wins. It happens. It happens, bro. But when it gets to I think off of those are also fighters who are a lot more accomplished than that of a Joshua Buatsi and a David Morrell. They were a lot more accomplished than those two. These are they're far more reputable than those two. Far more reputable. Joshua Buatsi and David Morrell are, they're kind of proven to be letdowns, man. They're kind of proven to be letdowns. The level of expectation was set too high for y'all, and y'all are underperforming. So redemption. Those 4 fighters need to get in there and line that up with one another. Those 4 fighters need to get in there and line. I still can't believe that Edgar Berlanga had the nerve to say that he beat Anthony Joshua and he beat Artur Beterbiev, bro. And then you go in there and get outlined in chalk by Hamza Shiraz, who should have lost to Carlos Adames. You just can't make shit up with these dudes, man. This shit is putrid. So those are the two fights. Those are the two fights that I think that should take place, because they make the most sense between those two fighters. They make the most sense, or between those 4 fighters. They make the most sense. Y'all don't need to be in there with nobody else. Joshua Buatsi, you need to get your ass in there with David Morrell. Edgar Berlanga, you need to get your ass in there with Caleb Plant. And may the best man fucking win. I don't know who the best man is, but, let's go in there and let's find shit out. But that's shit that needs to happen, man, because this shit just, no. Nah, so that's how I'm feeling about it. I'm about to get in here and get my Friday started so I can get the fuck on up out of here. It's payday. I'm hungry. I want to go home. I got class tonight and I want to play Ninja Gaiden. I'm getting hella far in that game. So, that's how I'm feeling about it, man. I will get with y'all later. Y'all stay righteous. Be easy. Deuces.